Ladies and gentlemen, it is with great joy that we gather today to explore a profound principle that has the power to shift your marital destiny: divine acceleration. In a world where many struggle with delays, disappointments, and uncertainty in their marriage season, we must understand that God operates beyond human timing. He is not limited by age, past failures, or societal expectations. When He moves, things that should take years can happen in moments. Divine acceleration is when God supernaturally speeds up His plans for your life, bringing about breakthroughs that defy natural processes. In the context of marriage, it means that what may seem delayed or difficult can suddenly align according to His perfect will. But here's the key: acceleration does not happen by chance. It is activated through divine principles. Divine acceleration in your marriage season is not about forcing an outcome, but aligning with God's process. Trust His timing, prepare yourself, walk in obedience, and remove every limitation that hinders your progress. When God accelerates, He restores wasted time, redeems past mistakes, and places you in the right covenant relationship at the right time. Before divine acceleration manifests in your marriage season, there must be a period of preparation and positioning. Many people desire a swift transition into marriage, but without preparation, acceleration can lead to instability. Imagine a car moving at full speed without proper maintenance. Eventually, it will break down. In the same way, if you are not prepared for the responsibilities, challenges, and blessings of marriage, acceleration will only expose weaknesses rather than establish a strong foundation. Preparation is the process through which God refines and equips you for the marriage you are praying for. Every great destiny requires readiness, and marriage is no exception. Some delays in marriage are not caused by external forces, but by a lack of personal growth. Are you spiritually mature enough to handle the weight of a covenant relationship? Have you developed the emotional intelligence required for patience, understanding, and compromise? Do you have the financial discipline to build a stable household? These are critical questions that must be addressed before divine acceleration can take place. In the Bible, Esther is a prime example of preparation preceding acceleration. Before she became queen, she underwent a season of purification, wisdom impartation, and personal refinement. Her time in preparation was not wasted. It was the very thing that positioned her for divine acceleration. Likewise, if you seek acceleration in your marriage season, you must embrace the process of personal development. Positioning is about being in the right place at the right time with the right posture. Many people miss their season of acceleration because they are out of position. Positioning is both spiritual and practical. Spiritually, it means aligning with God's will through prayer, discernment, and obedience. Practically, it means being intentional about your decisions, associations, and environment. Ruth's story is a powerful example of positioning for divine acceleration. She was a Moabite widow with seemingly no future, yet she positioned herself in the fields of Boaz. Had she remained in Moab, she would have missed her season. Many people delay their own marriage season by remaining in environments, relationships, and mindsets that do not align with their destiny. Your positioning determines your acceleration. God accelerates those who steward their current season well. If you are single, how are you managing your time? Are you investing in your spiritual growth, career, and purpose? Are you building the qualities of a godly spouse, or are you simply waiting without preparation? The parable of the talents teaches us that those who are faithful with little will be entrusted with more. When preparation meets positioning, divine acceleration becomes inevitable. God will not release you into a season you are not ready for. The key is to embrace preparation, align yourself with His will, and position yourself in places where He can accelerate your marital destiny. Faith and obedience are two powerful forces that unlock divine acceleration in your marriage season. Many people desire a quick manifestation of their marital breakthrough, but they overlook the fundamental requirement of trusting God's timing and following His instructions. When faith and obedience align, what seems delayed can happen suddenly. God does not accelerate based on human desires alone, but in response to faithful fished action and unwavering obedience to his principles. Faith is the ability to trust in God's plan even when circumstances seem contrary to his promises. In marriage, faith is essential because there will be seasons of waiting, testing, and preparation before acceleration occurs. The Bible states in Hebrews 11:6 that without faith it is impossible to please God. This means that before acceleration can take place, your faith must be rooted in his will, not just in your personal desires. Abraham and Sarah provide a powerful lesson on faith in the context of marriage. God promised them a son, but as years passed, they grew weary of waiting. In their impatience, they tried to force the promise through Hagar, leading to consequences that lasted for generations. Many people today make similar mistakes by attempting to accelerate marriage through their own means. Settling for relationships outside God's will, compromising values, or becoming anxious about delays. However, true divine acceleration only happens when faith rests in God's perfect plan. Faith also involves declaring and believing what God has spoken over your life. Instead of focusing on delays or disappointments, you must develop the mindset that if God has ordained a season of marriage for you, nothing can stop it when the time is right. Faith does not mean passively waiting. It means actively preparing while trusting that God's acceleration will come at the appointed time. While faith sets the foundation, obedience is the action that propels you forward. God will never accelerate someone who refuses to follow his instructions. Obedience in your marriage season involves following divine principles, making wise choices, and submitting to God's leading, even when it doesn't make sense. A clear biblical example of obedience leading to acceleration is found in the story of Rebekah. She was going about her daily tasks when Abraham's servant approached her, seeking a wife for Isaac. Her willingness to serve, offering water not only to him but also to his camels, was an act of obedience and kindness that positioned her for an unexpected and accelerated transition into marriage. Had she ignored that moment, she could have missed her divine appointment. Many people slow down their own marital journey by disobedience, choosing relationships that do not honor God, ignoring wise counsel, or allowing fear to override faith. However, when you obey God's instructions, whether it's preparing yourself, healing from past wounds, or focusing on his purpose, he moves swiftly on your behalf. Faith and obedience work together to create acceleration, but they must be aligned with God's will. You cannot have faith for something that contradicts his principles, nor can you expect obedience to lead to acceleration if it is based on self-centered desires. When you trust God and follow his ways, he will move beyond human limitations and position you for a marital breakthrough that happens in his perfect time. The key to divine acceleration is to walk in faith, remain obedient, and allow God to order your steps. When faith meets action and obedience meets divine timing, the impossible becomes possible, and what seemed delayed will suddenly come to pass. Many people experience delays in their marriage season, often feeling frustrated, confused, and even discouraged. However, it is important to understand that not all delays are denials. Some are divine refinements, while others result from personal choices, spiritual barriers, or external influences. To experience divine acceleration, you must first recognize and address the factors causing delays. Overcoming these setbacks requires spiritual insight, personal growth, and strategic action. Spiritual hindrances. Some delays occur due to unseen spiritual battles. The story of Daniel reveals that his prayer was answered immediately, but spiritual opposition delayed the manifestation. Daniel 10:12. Similarly, certain marital delays may be caused by generational patterns, curses, or demonic interference that require intentional prayer and fasting to break personal growth and readiness. Sometimes God delays marriage because a person is not yet ready. Marriage is not just about companionship. It requires maturity, responsibility, and selflessness. If emotional wounds, unresolved trauma, or personal insecurities exist, they must be addressed before acceleration occurs. God often uses the waiting season to shape character, refine attitudes, and build necessary virtues for a lasting marriage. Wrong relationships and choices. Engaging in the wrong relationships can delay your God-ordained marriage. Many people invest years in connections that do not align with their destiny, which results in unnecessary delays. Choosing partners based on worldly standards rather than divine direction can also lead to setbacks. Until certain ties are severed, acceleration may not occur. Prayer and warfare, if delays are spiritually induced, persistent prayer and spiritual warfare are necessary. Engaging in targeted prayers, declaring God's promises, and seeking divine intervention can remove obstacles blocking acceleration. Healing and inner transformation. If emotional wounds or personal struggles are causing delays, healing must take place. Many people desire marriage, yet they are still dealing with unresolved pain from the past. Taking time for self-reflection, counseling, and personal growth ensures that you enter marriage whole, not wounded. Obedience to divine instruction. Sometimes acceleration is tied to a specific instruction from God. It could be letting go of a toxic relationship, stepping into a new season of preparation, or aligning with His purpose. When God's voice is ignored, delays continue. Obeying divine direction can open doors to a swift turnaround. Once the barriers to acceleration are identified and addressed, it is essential to reposition yourself for divine timing. This involves cultivating the right mindset, developing patience, and trusting that God is working behind the scenes. Surrounding yourself with godly counsel, staying focused on purpose, and maintaining faith in His plan ensure that when the season shifts, you are ready to step into your divine marriage. Delays are not permanent, and setbacks can be overcome by applying wisdom, faith, and spiritual discernment. What once seemed delayed can turn into a testimony of supernatural acceleration. One of the most critical aspects of understanding divine acceleration in your marriage season is recognizing the role of divine timing. God operates outside human calendars and schedules, meaning His plans unfold in ways that may not always align with our expectation. However, when the appointed time arrives, what once seemed impossible can happen in a moment. Supernatural speed is when God moves swiftly to bring about His will, often bypassing natural delays and limitations. When you align with divine timing, doors open effortlessly, and what seemed delayed suddenly manifests. Ecclesiastes 3:01 states, "To everything there is a season, a time for every purpose under heaven." This reminds us that God has preordained seasons for every aspect of our lives, including marriage. No matter how much we desire something, if it is not the right time, it will not manifest. However, when the appointed season arrives, nothing can stop it. In the story of Abraham and Sarah, God promised them a child, but they had to wait until the right time. Despite their impatience and attempts to force the promise, Isaac was only born when God's set time arrived. Similarly, many people experience delays because they are trying to move ahead of divine timing, while others fail to recognize when their season of acceleration has come. Understanding God's timing requires discernment, patience, and trust in His process. Unusual favor and open doors. When divine acceleration is in motion, opportunities appear that were previously unavailable. Suddenly, relationships align, introductions happen unexpectedly, and things fall into place without struggle. A sense of inner readiness. Before God accelerates marriage, He prepares the heart. Many people who experience divine speed often realize that just before their breakthrough, they underwent a period of deep transformation, healing, or spiritual growth that made them ready for the next season. The right alignments and connections. God often brings the right people into your life as a sign that acceleration is taking place. Just as Ruth was positioned in Boaz's field at the right time, divine connections begin to manifest when the season of marriage is near. When God accelerates, things happen rapidly, yet effortlessly. What took others years can happen in months, weeks, or even days. This is because divine acceleration does not operate by human logic, but by supernatural intervention. In the Bible, Joseph was in prison for years, but in one day, he was elevated to the second highest position in Egypt. This demonstrates that no matter how long delays have lasted, when God's timing aligns, everything can change instantly. Supernatural speed does not mean skipping preparation. Rather, it means that when you are aligned with God's plan, breakthroughs occur in ways beyond human understanding. Those who embrace divine timing and remain positioned in faith will experience acceleration at the right moment. As we have explored, divine acceleration in your marriage season is not just about speed, it is about alignment with God's perfect timing. While delays and setbacks may seem discouraging, they often serve a greater purpose in preparing you for the blessing ahead. Preparation and positioning ensure that when acceleration comes, you are ready to embrace it fully. Faith and obedience act as catalysts, propelling you toward God's promises while removing unnecessary detours. Overcoming delays requires spiritual discernment, self-reflection, and a willingness to break free from anything that hinders progress. And finally, when divine timing aligns, supernatural speed takes over, making what once seemed impossible a reality. Marriage is not just about finding the right person, it is about becoming the right person in the right season. Trust God's process, remain faithful in your waiting, and stay obedient to His leading. When He moves, nothing can stand in the way of your breakthrough. May you experience divine acceleration, and may your marriage season be marked by God's favor, wisdom, and perfect timing.